There's still a month to go before the official launch of Zenless Zone Zero, but a lot of the music is already public, and what we've heard is exciting. Like the visual aesthetic, it's a brand new style for Hoyoverse. ZZZ is grungy and modern, and the music needs to be as well. The soundtrack this time wasn't produced by anyone at HoYoMix, but instead by this guy, DMYoung, and the sound he created has strong roots in EDM and hip-hop. This isn't just a way to match the visuals, though. Like Honkai Impact 3rd before it, Zenless Zone Zero features punchy, flashy, percussive combat, and this kind of action game goes extraordinarily well with music that you feel just as much as hear. Personally, I'll be turning up the music when I play for precisely that reason. But you know what track we're gonna talk about first? I'll tell you if you subscribe. And also if you don't, it's the one that plays on the website. This track has the difficult task of representing the sound of the entire game as quickly as possible before the user clicks away. Extra tricky since this game is divided into two main phases. The combat is tense and explosive, but it's punctuated with peaceful, chill episodes in New Eridu, where you're just enjoying the city. The track on the website delivers both by starting with a smooth beat and adding subtle roughness to it. None of the music discussed in this video has official track titles yet, so I'm making up my own. I'll put the official titles in the description once they're available, but for now, this one is called More Cowbell. That joke is 24 years old. You're welcome. The initial statement is a pretty strong one. The first few phrases of the track are almost entirely composed of unpitched percussion, a stark difference from soundtracks like Genshin Impact, where harmonies drive the music forward and percussion may not even be present. Dance beats are at the heart of this soundtrack, and they're the main reason the music has such an infectious motion to it. This musical style is heavily syncopated, which means the rhythm places emphasis on certain beats unpredictably, instead of sticking to 1, 2, 3, 4. For whatever reason, humans have the biggest impulse to move to music when the beat is strong but slightly unpredictable. So says science. So setting fast-paced combat to a syncopated dance beat makes us buy into the experience on a more visceral level. Next in the music, we get to meet every drum's best friend, bass. The bass line lends more personality to the beat and tells us what key we're in. In this case, it's a minor key, which are known for their dark profile. But a side effect of music being groovy is that darkness doesn't hit as hard. If we slow down this bass riff and lose the syncopation, we get something that sounds like a game over screen. In tracks like More Cowbell, the minor key is more tangy than dark. At the same time that the bass comes in, we start to hear this drone in the background, and it's the first example of the roughness I was talking about. It's quiet enough that we don't really notice, but if it were louder, it would be generating a ton of dissonance. Besides tonality, the key also gives us a home base in the form of a tonic pitch. In this case, F sharp, because we're in the key F sharp minor. These three notes are exactly the right distance away from the tonic pitch to create the most dissonant intervals possible in our 12-note system. A half step below the tonic is the major seventh, also called the leading tone. A half step above the tonic is the minor second, which really serves to darken any piece of music. And a tritone away from the tonic is the diminished or flat fifth. Gross. None of these notes are native to minor keys. These two aren't in major keys either, so they're at least a little unexpected for the listener, in addition to being difficult to stomach. If this moving line were louder, it would command our attention. But as things are, it's just enough to suggest in the back of our minds that this track has some bite to it. DMYoung uses all three of these notes a lot in the Zenless soundtrack. Depending on key, they won't always be E sharp, C, and G, but they'll always be these colors, and they'll always be the same distance from the tonic. Distance from the tonic and other notes is actually what gives notes their emotional colors, not the specific pitches that they are. Next, we hear the most unusual character in this track, this tire-skidding, motor-straining kind of sound. Not only is this abrasive in every sense of the word, but it's being pitch-bended to be further unsettling. As you can see, this sound passes through all three of our problem notes. In addition, the rhythm speeds up over time. This is actually a really stressful sound on its own, but as hostile as it may be, it blends with the rest of the music well enough that it doesn't harsh our mellow. I think that wraps it up for this track. Let's have some fun listening with our new perspective. So that's the track used to introduce the website. But the second and third closed betas had their own themes as well. For the final round of testing, termed the Amplifying Test, prospective testers got to listen to this jam while signing up. It's very similar to more cowbell in terms of beat and intent, but has a lot more going on. More melodic lines, more samples, and more simultaneous layers, but not more cowbell. I'm gonna call it Catch Me If You Can. This video is gonna be really goofy once these tracks have real titles. Now, as for the music that actually plays in the game, we'll look at a bit of the city music really quick, but then I want to focus on some of the battle music. The tracks that play in the city of New Eridu all have a bittersweet, relaxed vibe that reminds me of Sunset. Mostly bright major key stuff, but for all you out there who like funny modes, there's this track with a really unusual chord progression that keeps briefly slipping into Mixolydian and Dorian territory. This sunset feeling is so consistent that it makes me wonder if New Eridu is meant to feel a bit nostalgic or melancholy in some way. I guess I can't test that theory till the game's out. Oh, I should probably tell you, Zenless Zone Zero is paying me to make this video. If the game looks like a good time to you, use my link in the description to pre-register, and you'll get a few extra goodies when the game launches on the 4th of July! In typical Hoyoverse fashion, the game's free to download and has optional purchases in-game. ZZZ, or Triple Z as it goes by on SoundCloud, has probably taken a bit of inspiration from the game Hades, and one of the places this shows is in the music during the main gameplay. From what I've seen in live streams of the closed betas, it looks like many of the battle themes have multiple sections that play based on whether the player is actively in combat or watching TV. And I'm thrilled to say it seems like these transitions often happen in time with the music, which longtime viewers may know is like a thing for me. In more cowbell and Catch Me If You Can, the roughness of combat was tempered by the serenity of the hub city, but the battle themes can go as hard as they want. Here are 4 of them. Introducing our heavyweight contenders... Roar! Watch your step! Quackjacker! And Gel Bludger! Whatcha. As you can hear, these all sound pretty aggressive, and they're clearly meant to really dig into the grit of combat. What separates these 4 battle themes from the rest is that they're each made up of 3 to 5 individual tracks. Oftentimes when soundtrack designers use dynamic music like this, they'll just filter different instrument layers in and out during the same ongoing piece of music. But in Zenless Zone Zero, the music actually jumps between tracks that are closely related. This keeps the music fresh and engaging over a longer period of time because there's less being repeated, which is pretty cool. Different phases of a battle theme have the same key and usually the same chord progression and tempo, but they might have completely different melodies, counter-melodies, instruments, and beats. Let's take a look at how Quackjacker evolves throughout the course of a run in Zenless Zone Zero. Between battles, Quackjacker has this murky drone that builds anticipation. There are two moving lines here, and they both end with some amount of harmonic tension. They land on several different notes, but never the tonic, never the home bass. The music always implies that there's more to come, so even though it's calm in this stage, there's a dark curiosity here.
I wonder what will happen.
The second stage starts with a cinematic sweep, and then the beat and melody slowly fade in. This is still a pretty subdued sound, but it's decidedly more menacing than the first version. A simple change is that the hi-hat is louder, giving the beat a more insistent quality. There's also a strong bass line now, which provides a fuller sound. But most of all, this part of the theme is in Phrygian mode. That means that compared to a minor key, the second degree is lowered a half step, and we hear that friction again between the tonic and minor second. The third track plays during standard battles. We pop out of Phrygian into a more familiar harmonic minor tonality, and the brass and bass are really heavy on the tonic. That means there's actually less harmonic tension in the music now. This is what the previous tracks were foreshadowing, so we're not looking forward now, we're in the present moment. But this is also when the music again gets pretty abrasive. When the hook comes in, it hits the flat fifth repeatedly, giving the track an off-kilter vibe. And just for the sake of mischief, later that same synth has a line that ends on the flat fifth. Oh, Quackjacker. The fourth part of this theme prepares us for the boss battle at the end of the run. It has the same basic melody as part 2, but in terms of intensity, the highs are higher and the lows are lower. Also, we get some wub-wubs. I know some people don't like dubstep. Uh-oh. The final, fifth act of Quackjacker leans fully into dissonance and dubstep for the epic boss battle at the end of the run. Oh, and here come the wub-wubs! It brings back some of the quirkiness from the third track and really goes crazy with half-step movement into the flat fifth. To top it off, you know what always kills in video game music? A double time feel. And that is the Quackjacker Battle Suite. This is just one of the many battle themes that can play during the game, and I'm sure there will be even more as the game continues to release content in the coming years. Many video game fans play with the music off, or with their own music playing instead. And if that describes you, that's your right, but I would give this a chance before you peace out. Dynamic, juiced-up soundtracks like this can have a truly enthralling effect on gameplay, and given how good this game looks, I'm gonna want my immersion firing on all cylinders. I plan to die at least once from trying to sync my attacks to the beat. That's a promise. I hope you enjoyed this early look at the music of Zenless Zone Zero. Once it comes out in July, maybe I'll see you online. Stranger things have happened.